All right, guys, today we're going to be doing something a little fun. Now, we've checked out the Fortnite crossover trailers recently, and we saw all of the many pieces of media that have collabed with the Fortnite series. So I felt like maybe we should dial it back a little bit and check out the lore, like actually see the story behind Fortnite, because apparently it does have a story, and you guys recommended me to check it out in the crossover trailer video, so I'm gonna check it out today. With that being said, hit that like button if you enjoyed this video. I would truly appreciate it. Let's jump into it. The entire Fortnite storyline explained. All right, guys, let's start it now.
Fortnite's storyline is 6 years in the making, and in that time we followed a journey that ties every single event, season, and character together. While key moments come and go, there is one thing that has always remained constant. It has stood the test of time as wars have been fought above it, supervillains have tried to steal it, and it is destabilized way too often. From the first appearance in the Butterfly event to now being the key of Chapter 5, this is the entire Fortnite storyline explained. So many things have changed since our first video, but not where this story started. All of this began millions of years ago when there was a Big Bang. It formed every single universe in an instant, and at the center of it all was Reality Zero. It's here where the Big Bang left behind a huge mass of energy, and instead of spreading it out, the energy compressed itself into an orb we call the 0 point. This is tethered to every single reality in existence, connecting the entire Omniverse.
Wait, so this is how they explain like having crossovers and such? There's a big point with all of the universes connected.
That's what makes it so incredibly powerful. As a result, it needed to protect itself from anyone who tried to wield this power. And this is where the island is created.
Oh, I remember this. I remember seeing that in one of the crossover trailers where you could see all of the characters from other universes flying towards the island, like Geralt, and I want to say like Peter Griffin. And there's a few other characters too. I can't really remember them all. I think one was Rick. Anyways, let's go back a little bit. I'm kind of missing some things.
To protect itself from anyone who tried to wield this power. And this is where the island is created. On the surface, it appears as a powerful storm with a fake sky, appearing as a huge bubble in space and time. Anyone who tried to visit this island would either be wiped out by the storm's defenses or manipulated by the 0 point's strange effects, until one man came along. Against all of the odds, he captured control of the orb and began to wield its power. We know him as Geno. He's a scientist who is obsessed with perfection and also leader of a medieval kingdom known as the Oathbound. During his time ruling as a champion, Geno started to experiment with future technologies. We're not sure how he discovered the 0 point, but once it was located, he instantly realized its full potential.
I mean, this is like a superhero movie or a comic book storyline, isn't it? It's kind of cool. It kind of reminds me of like Lex Luthor or Doctor Doom, etc., etc.
Long-term vision was to create the perfect society, and his time with the Oathbound was just phase 1 of his true destiny. With the orb, he knew that if he could see how every reality was made and what was different about each one, he could use that information to truly create perfection. So one day he left behind his home.
Of course.
But Geno wanted the kingdom to not lose their leader. In his place, he left behind a clone of himself known as a snapshot. There's still more research to be done into how snapshots truly work, but we do know they're created
Clever
when
name.
someone leaves the loop. Originally, the loop worked very differently, but once Geno got his hands on it, he began to sculpt it for his own evil intentions. So along with the mysterious inner circle, Geno set out to create a new organization known as the Imagined Order. Their headquarters are built around the 0 point, with this location being codenamed the Bridge. With the newfound power, the IO were able to control the effects of the storm, alter people's memories, even unlock immortality.
Immortality?
For the perfect society, the IO created the
So this kind of reminds me of Hunger Games, right? It's pretty similar to that.
memories, even unlock immortality. Now, to recruit people for the perfect society, the IO created the Loop. It's a program that forces people to fight each other, but to make it a fair battle, it removes your memory, ability to speak, and every 22 minutes, you fight all over again. It sounds like a great way to judge people, but no one would ever agree to this. So they started kidnapping subjects from countless realities. It was working perfectly.
That's why. Okay, that makes sense now. We saw that in the crossover trailer also. I was wondering why that guy was going around like capturing or sending people to this dimension, right? So he was kidnapping them.
As more fighters proved themselves, Geno offered them immortality in return for joining the Imagined Order. Not only that, their whole family could live on the island and experience the same benefits.
No way.
See towns and houses on the map. Not everyone is as lucky though. In fact,
I never would have thought that they'd explain why towns and houses and stuff were on the map, but that's actually a pretty cool lore reasoning. I like it.
the same benefits. It's why we see towns and houses on the map. Not everyone is as lucky though. In fact, some IO guards don't even know they had a previous life. Their memories got wiped as they're forced to know only one thing: how to protect the Order. Thousands of years later, the organization had grown massively and mostly went under the radar until they kidnapped the wrong people. Those who were way too intelligent for the loop and managed to escape it without consequences. This unlikely group of vigilantes are from all corners of the universe, and despite being very different, they have one goal: destroying the imagined order and liberating the 0 Point. We know them as the Seven.
The beginning.
On March 20th, 2018, people living on the island look up to the sky. Something is approaching.
I remember this. This was huge news when it was happening. Like, what was this, like 4 or 5 years ago? Like, everybody was going nuts about this. They're like, there's something in the sky. And I just remember seeing it all over Twitter, and all of these people were like creating theories and talking about it. And then there was a big countdown to when it happens. And it was just insane. It was probably one of the most memorable moments in video game history.
Rush to grab a telescope, getting a closer look at the object shooting towards them.
I never actually watched it though.
Panic ensues as they try to predict where it'll hit, with some villagers thinking it's aliens or an extraterrestrial visitor, and if only they knew how right they were. In April, TVs around the island begin to show an emergency broadcast to prepare for the collision. As the meteor gets closer and closer, they brace for impact. A huge crater is left in the ground as the imagined order rushes to investigate. They build a facility at the crash site, disguising themselves as the
Area
government.
51,
Well,
the government.
for them, they weren't fast enough. A mysterious character breaks out of the meteor and escapes the facility, and this is our first introduction to the Visitor. He's on a mission to test the capabilities of their airtight suits, which we learn later on protects them from the effects of the loop. It's a success, as he steals a rocket from a film set and converts it to rift back home.
Oh, nice. From a film set though? Oh, he created a giant rift in the sky. Look at that.
This was supposed to be a harmless mission. Instead, it began the Fortnite storyline as we know it. A simple rift that would ultimately invite pure evil to the island and kickstart 6 years of bloodshed.
Oh, okay. All due to the Visitor.
Energy emerges. It's a cube? Well, this man is relatively harmless. It has the power to destroy the island in a single blow.
What
it's bright purple flowing with corruption, which spreads to anyone who touches it. And so this cube begins to roll around the island.
Do you turn evil?
While searching for its target, the 0 Point. Eventually.
All right, so this is looking for the 0 Point. So as you guys were playing this game, this cube was moving around the map.
The search leads it to Loot Lake, where the cube begins to destabilize. The 0 Point is barely able to defend itself, and within months, it's already facing a new threat. A huge shard of ice crashes into the island, bringing a harsh winter with it and a mysterious castle of unknown origin. It belongs to a power-hungry Ice King who we learn has plenty of prisoners. One of them is trapped in blocks of ice, and as the fragment crashes into the island, he's able to break free. With the chains gone, he's revealed to be the Fire King, a rival who is equally as powerful.
Looks like Kratos.
Both of them want to take the island for themselves. As opposite elements, they can't survive the climate of this place. So, the Ice King covers the island in snow, cooling the temperature to his liking. His arch nemesis responds, stealing dragon eggs from the dungeon and using them to create a small army of hybrids. It's enough for him to fight back and create a huge volcano that'll destroy Polar Peak. But before his plan comes to fruition, the Ice King defeats him in a war, with the prisoner frozen in the ocean for good. Well, fortunately for him, the volcano still erupts, sending fireballs hurling at the island's biggest cities. And of course, the castle. It breaches the iceberg, unleashing a monster that was secretly kept in the deepest dungeon. Yeah, it immediately breaks free, and the imagined order don't really care. They're perfectly fine with the monster damaging the island, as long as it doesn't touch the 0 Point.
Well, what about the people? Don't they need people to live on this island? Isn't that the whole point?
The solution is to create a doomsday weapon that'll wipe out everyone on the
surface,
including the monster. Well, that's when a prisoner of their own speaks up. The Paradigm, a member of the Seven, explains that they can't just let everyone die.
Right.
So she offers a better solution, to pilot a giant robot and kill the monster herself. They reluctantly move forward with the plan,
Pacific Rim, bro.
constructing the Mech in the hollowed out volcano.
This is so Power Rangers.
Final showdown.
Pacific Rim. Kamen Rider. Oh, look at that.
And in the ultimate live event, Paradigm slays the monster with the sword. The rotting corpse
Oh,
is
look at
left
the
on
sword.
island. She knows that if she sticks around, the IO will recapture her, so she begins her escape flying directly upwards into space. Her new mission, investigate where the monster came from. When they learn about this, the Seven are furious. They think she betrayed them by working with the IO, and after her escape, it's radio silence. Pretty quick, they learn that a robot was crashed into a nearby planet called the Ice Moon. The temperature is simply way too cold for a human to survive, so she must have never
died?
made it. And that brings us back to the island, where the Imagined Order has bigger problems than their prisoner escaping. Before the monster was killed by Paradigm, it broke into the Zero Point's vault. Grabbing the orb, she used it to stun the Devourer, but this left the Zero Point exposed, and it was destabilizing.
Oh, that wasn't
As it
smart.
begins to implode, the Imagined Order has no hope of saving it, but luckily someone else does. The Seven are sworn protectors of the Zero Point. Time itself is breaking down, bringing the meteor and other locations from the past to the island. Out of the new meteor emerges our latest member, the scientist, who is already preparing a plan to save reality. He builds these rift beacons around the island, using their power to gather resources and prepare the other members of the Seven for their plan. Together, they'll use rifts to unpause time and jumpstart the Zero Point into stabilizing. But for that to
Sounds
work,
smart.
we need the meteor.
Sounds complex. They shoot a rocket into the sky. To summon a meteor? Oh, look at that. Look at all the rifts it created. Oh. I do think I remember playing around this time though. Jeez, look at that. Because the meteor does look familiar. Maybe I didn't play. Maybe I'm just thinking of a video I was watching at the time. Oh, there it is. You guys got to watch this happen in real time? This is insane. Look at all those colors. So is it gonna create like a black hole? How does everyone survive this then? The Zero Crisis.
The island has now been reshaped by the Zero Point, split into two pieces of land that sandwich the orb for extra protection. The Imagined Order needs to re-establish control over the island, and fast. They send agents to survey the area, but quickly they come face to face with their snapshots. But only one problem, these snapshots are different.
Are they
Altered by an
stronger?
evil mad scientist known as Chaos Agent. The scientist belongs to a secret crime syndicate Shadow, founded by Midas, a
He looks kind of like Pyro from Team Fortress 2 a little
known
bit.
as Chaos Agent. The scientist belongs to a secret crime syndicate Shadow, founded by Midas, a powerful and greedy leader. His true power is in the form of the Golden Touch, a curse that was placed on him after he tried to steal the treasures of an ancient king. And despite this, Midas's organization is taken from underneath him as Chaos Agent rises to grab power. With his vast wealth, Midas makes a new organization, Ghost, and its purposes are very different. Instead of committing crime, Ghost becomes a secret agency that spies on the mysterious activities around the island. Quickly, Midas learns about the loop in the Imagined Order, and he is blown away by their evil plans. This causes him to recruit his daughter Jules, who has been a master engineer her entire life. To distract the IO from his plans, he wages war against Shadow to cover up his true intentions, building a device that'll destroy the loop for good. He believes the key to doing this is the Storm. It's how the Imagined Order enforced the loop by bringing it in every 22 minutes to kill whoever's left standing. So by pushing it back, you'll free everyone trapped by its wrath. What he doesn't know is that the Imagined Order is already keeping tabs on him. John Jones is a field agent who has dedicated his life to the
John
order. Under
Jones.
the oath, he has done covert work on the island hundreds of times, leaving a snapshot every single time he re-enters the loop. But before Jones can figure out Midas's plan, it is sprung into action as the device event.
Oh, wow. Those towers are huge. Was it going to create like a dome around the map? Oh, it's pushing the storm. Okay.
Midas's plan works, until things get weird. He didn't account for the fact that the storm isn't just lightning, it's alive and controlled by the Zero Point.
Must be connected to the loop, but there's no way we could have predicted that it would react this way.
Oh, look at that. A huge
The storm
wave.
protects itself by creating a giant wall of water.
Look at that.
Midas has failed, and over time, the wall collapses, flooding the island and wiping out Ghosts and Shadows territory. It isn't long.
So this is why the map turned into like a water park for a while. I remember this was the theory that a lot of people weren't a big fan of. They were just like, wait, what? Everything's gonna go underwater? I don't remember how long this lasted, but was this a good season of Fortnite? Like, did you guys enjoy it?
Before Agent Jones has to face yet another threat to the IO's reign. Turns out that when the 0 Point created this reshaped island, it released an enormous amount of energy. In a case of extreme muckiness, it got the attention of a being from
Galactus,
universe, one that we are very familiar with.
This is where the Avengers comes in.
Crossovers enter the storyline, because this threat from outer space is none other than Galactus, Devourer of Worlds.
So this was the first crossover that they had for Fortnite?
He's drawn to this massive energy surge and is desperate to consume the planet that contains it. Of course, it's the Fortnite Island, and because Galactus is from the Marvel Universe, it also brings a whole cast of characters to protect us.
And it makes sense. I like it.
It would destroy reality as we know it.
It fits.
This kickstarts a plan from Tony Stark to build rift beacons around the map and bring his lab to the island. Every day, the island's residents see this being get closer, and just before he arrives, the plan is revealed. Tony spent all this time building custom battle buses and fitting them with explosives, cannons, and lasers, and now the day has come.
Oh, look at Galactus. The scale of this man. Look at that. He's picking up the 0 Point? No way. They had like a Star Fox gameplay that you could like partake in. Oh, that's awesome, bro. That would have been so fun to check out.
And ultimately, he maybe got a little too much power before he rifted him away for good, and this caused major problems. With Galactus exposing the 0 Point, it has once again started to destabilize. We know this time period as the Zero Crisis, and this time the 7 aren't here to save it. So right now the Imagined Order is panicking, but for a different reason. They don't care if reality breaks down, they just want to make sure nobody jumps into the 0 Point and escapes the loot. So they send Agent Jones on a task. He travels through 88 different realities, jump after jump, to recruit the galaxy's best bounty hunters, so they could
That was Agent Jones. That makes sense now. Okay.
hunt down.
Now we have a name to the face.
Spending months on this task, he returns only to find that the 0 Point is worse than he left it. He begs his boss, Dr. Sloan, to do something, but she won't listen.
What's the point of recording these logs if you're not gonna listen? We've lost control of the 0 Point. Do you get what that means? You must not, because you're doing nothing. I've dedicated my life to the Order. I've given everything. And for what? To just sit back and watch reality end? That's not who we are. At least it's not who I am. Not anymore.
Time is running out and Jones refuses to submit. Instead, he takes matters into his own hands, defecting from the IO for good. And that's when he breaks into the bridge searching for a secret file.
This is Agent Jones requesting access to restricted file 8752.
You went rogue.
Really? No time to stabilize reality, but plenty of time to revoke my credentials. This is Agent Jones requesting access to all materials related to the 7.
That's literally how it works, man. The priorities were not straight.
If you're not gonna give me what I need, I'm just gonna have to take it.
So he does, and with this newfound knowledge, he hops on a battle bus and heads straight for the island, where the 0 Point is on the brink of imploding. He rushes through all of the hunters he spent months recruiting and gets there just in time.
Oh, now we have context to this scene. Is that a meteor? Whoa! Look at all those shards.
It actually worked.
Is this another visitor? Looks like it. Oh, look at that suit.
Look, I know you have no reason to trust me, but... Oh, no. Hang on. Let's talk! Let's talk!
Ooh.
Geno! I can get you to Geno.
And the sisters?
I can get you all of them. But I need your help to fix that.
Finally, we are introduced to the Foundation, the leader of the Seven who has been rivals with Geno for centuries. Now that Jones has offered to give him Geno, he's actually willing to help protect the 0 point. As it starts to break down, the orb blooms like a flower. Jones has studied it his entire life, but this is the first time he's seen it react like this.
That's very pretty.
There's no time to admire it though. It's destabilized and is already way too far gone to save.
Is this around the time of the Ariana Grande stuff?
The only
For
option
concert?
now is to contain the blast. The Foundation seals himself in a tower of stone, and in the ultimate sacrifice, tells Jones to overload his portal gun, leaving them both trapped in the loop.
Oh no. That can't be good.
The Spire encases the 0 point, with reality waves sending the island into a wild and feral state. It's overtaken by a primal biome as the IO scrambles to maintain control. They bring in the Spire Guardians, who are here to defend the 0 point secrets from ancient hunters such as Raz. He claims that the Spire has been calling to him in his dreams, and he traveled here on a mission to learn its mysteries. While tracking down the island's artifacts, he discovers an unseen reality log left behind by
He looks like he should be the main character of the next Prince of Persia game. I love it.
mysteries. While tracking down the island's artifacts, he discovers an unseen reality log left behind by Agent Jones. Raz immediately begins searching for the Spire's mysterious crystals, which in turn lead him to the ultimate artifact. Before we can stop Raz, one of Jonesy's snapshots gives us a chilling warning. There are people who think the Spire will make them powerful. It will, but it will also exploit their every weakness. Do not allow the Spire to corrupt someone powerful, or Jones does not stand a chance. Go now before the Spire attracts any more attention from the... Never mind, just hurry. Well, it's already a little too late, because Raz has found a crucial artifact that is way too dangerous to wield on his own. This shard is all too familiar. It's a piece of the cube that almost destroyed the island with the corruption still intact. Upon wielding it, Raz succumbs to the darkness, becoming aggressive and evil. Now, we're able to take it away from him in time, but the damage has already been done. Now, before we can discover just how important this key moment was, a comic reveals an extraordinary amount of secrets hidden underneath the island. As a DC crossover, it revolves around Batman, who has been trapped in the loop after investigating a rift in Gotham City. As the world's greatest detective, he is able to prepare an escape plan. With the help from Catwoman, he escapes the loop by standing in the center of the storm in the final seconds. Now, free to roam the island out of the loop, he comes across a group of inhabitants. They form an alliance and decide to get out of Reality Zero for good. Only problem is, they can't just swim away, they would disintegrate. And now that they've escaped the loop, there are no second chances. Death is permanent. There's only one way to get home, and it's the same way they got here, through the 0 point. The group is able to unlock one of the metal bunkers on the island and head underground in search of an escape. The room is extremely ancient, protected by massive golems and swarms of IO guards. It's a tough battle, and in the chaos, Fishstick is killed by an unknown figure.
Oh no, not
Fishstick! Is working for the Imagined Order. The others, still in shock, decide to carry on. The further they progress, the closer they get to the 0 point. Eternal Voyager, in his desperation to escape, sprints into the orb and immediately gets split into a million pieces. The 0 point cycles through countless realities per second, which killed him instantly. He got his wish, he'll be raging for eternity. After hours of discussion, the group figures out how to calibrate the orb. Renegade Raider goes home first before one of the members reveals a dark secret. Deathstroke has been working with the Imagined Order all along.
Of course.
He was the one who killed Fishstick.
No!
To a fight before tying up Deathstroke, and most of the others escape to the 0 point as the Gotham City crew are left standing. Once the 0 point has finally been calibrated to their homeworld, Deathstroke flees to Gotham City as Batman and Catwoman go after him. Once they're home, the memories come flooding back. They may have worked together in the loop, but in their previous lives, they were rivals. More importantly, both of these events have worked together to allow the next phase of the story to progress. Heading all the way back to Raz, his use of the Dark Shard has gotten the wrong kind of attention. This is what Jonesy's snapshot warned us about. So as we look to the sky, UFOs begin to abduct loopers, crowd circles appear, and a conspiracy theorist named Mari starts broadcasting about it. She warns the people of the island that aliens are coming, and this is far too dangerous for the IO. More importantly, Dr. Sloan, Agent Jones' boss, is dedicated to shutting down this broadcast, but the invasion has already begun.
Oh no, the aliens are coming. Look at that. Yeah, this is the trailer they showed Rick. Wait, the Foundation is free now.
Sloan has no choice but to fight against them in the name of keeping control and maintaining order. The mothership sends a huge army down onto the island known as the Chimera. Their goal, annihilate everyone while the ship above abducts major locations. It moves around taking Slurpy Swamp, Coral Castle, and has its eyes on Holly Hedges. The Chimera also scanned Looper's minds in an attempt to locate the 0 point, but Sloan has an epiphany. She's figured out that the Imagined Order has a mole who is secretly divulging information to the enemy. It's a perfect situation that can be manipulated as she feeds Maven false information. Of course, this gets into the hands of the Chimera, who learn that the IO secret base of operations is at Corny Crops. And yes, this is true, but what they don't know is that Sloan has filled the complex with a huge bomb. So right on cue, they move to Corny and abduct the POIs, satisfied that they have cornered the Imagined Order.
Oh, wow.
A secret plan known as Operation Skyfire, and Sloan recruits loopers, aka us, to sneak on board and make sure everything goes smoothly. We break out of prison.
So we have to fight in the UFO?
Which at this point is full of guards and obstacles. Eventually, though, we make our way to the final room, an abduction chamber with
Look at
the
this.
complex and all of the bombs attached to it, primed and ready to go. Satisfied that Operation Skyfire is a near success, Sloan arms the bombs. Now, there's only one problem. The aliens have a last trick up
Oh
their
no.
We thought it was gone.
The cube? They brought it back.
This time it nearly destroyed the island.
And it's gonna destroy it again.
But with 2 minutes left until detonation, Sloan delivers the bad news.
You played your part. Now I have to play mine.
She's gonna
We are
detonate
fighting
it?
A war in which we are hopelessly outgunned. I won't bring you home. Not if there is a chance that thing can make it back to the island. Over and out.
She sacrifices
The
you.
loopers are panicking, desperate for a way out. We approach the dying cube and collectively use our power to remove its corruption and restore its purity. Now glowing blue, it's on our side until the ground begins to rise. We've been standing on an elevator this entire time, and it was taking us higher and higher into the mothership. Turns out there's one final reveal, a plot twist that would send waves through the Imagined Order's ranks and change our perspective on the story forever. The
I wanna
Chimera
know.
didn't bring the cube from chapter 1. In fact, they're not even the Chimera. That was just an enslaved army. The true evil is in this room. It is here we meet the last reality.
Another cube. There's a bunch of cubes. Look at all the cubes. Dear God. What? Whoa. So we died? No. We're about to crash back onto the map.
We may have taken down their mothership, but Sloan's plan backfired. Now all of these cubes crash onto the island. And
Oh
one of
my
them has
God.
become the
She blew us up to make sure that the cube wasn't going to come back to the island. Lo and behold, she didn't know that this was going to happen, but there was a room full of a ton of cubes. So you thought one was an issue. Well, baby girl, you got 1 million and 1 billion now flying into the planet.
most powerful villain to date. Sure, these are corrupted by a dark evil, but that power is controlled by a sinister character known as the Cube Queen.
There's a Cube Queen?
She summons her army of caretakers and cube monsters to fight off the IO forces. Now you gotta understand,
And she's
the
hot?
last reality are very different to our villains of the past. Every threat we face has wanted to take control of the 0 point for themselves, aside from Galactus. But
Right.
this motive is extremely worrying. The Cube Queen and her minions want to use a 0 point to destroy everything that has ever lived. Because it's tethered to all realities, they can eliminate life as we know it in an instant, making them truly the last reality.
That wouldn't be
This plan
good.
has already come to fruition, but she needs the full power of her fleet back home in order to make it work. She sends her army of cubes to the center of the island, directly above the 0 point where they create a pyramid known as the Convergence. Sloan was fooled by the last reality during Operation Skyfire, but knowing what she's up against, it is finally time to put together a real plan, except she doesn't. Instead, the Imagined Order are more distracted by their newfound prisoner, Agent Jones. After being stuck in the loop, he was arrested for treason, but little do they know, someone else has been discovered too. The
Ooh.
Foundation, dropped at the bottom of the ocean, wakes
Okay.
up. Months have passed since he was ejected from the 0 point, and he has
We saw
no
him.
idea where he is. Leaving the ocean, he stumbles across Gotham City, the last place that the 0 point was calibrated to. In this strange world, the Foundation is immediately approached by Batman, who assumes he's a threat. After fighting, they talk it out, where the Foundation reveals that he has sworn enemies with the Imagined Order and has nothing to do with the loop. They want to take down the IO and liberate the 0 point, just like Batman does. He explains that the Seven have always had an advantage over the IO because they have the ability ability to create sideways rifts. This is a way to traverse different realities without the 0 point. This technology was experimented with in Chapter 1 through the rocket launch. The only problem is, it takes a long time for the rift to close, making it extremely risky.
So that's not good.
The IO doesn't know how to do this. They need to use pure portals, basically the ones opened by their guns. So learning all of this, Batman agrees to help the Foundation return home. Once back, he realizes that he needs to find Agent Jones immediately. A lot has changed since being thrown from the Spire, but before then, he must update the other members of the Seven and figure out a plan to stop the last reality. Sloan and the Imagined Order have never cared about the fate of the island. As long as they maintain control
Yeah, we
of the orb,
noticed.
everyone dying, it's perfectly okay. It's happened time and time
We
again,
noticed.
like the Zero Crisis or the Final Showdown, but the Seven, as usual, have to swoop in and save the day.
And they will. Wow. That's a big motherships. Plural?
Wake him up. You just had to be the hero, Jones. You know what happens to heroes?
They, live to fight another day?
Not this time. Do it.
Oh my God. The numbers on Jones's jumpsuit there, 0204 is it's my birthday backwards. Mine is 0402. That's spooky.
This isn't personal, Jones. Although I do plan to enjoy it. Would someone see what that is?
The Foundation is here to save the day. Yeah.
Impossible. I watched you die.
Oh my God. I love that we have context to this now. This is pure gold, cinematic greatness.
Possible. I watched you die.
Got over it.
That's insane. The Rock.
Promise me, Geno.
Well, love you too, buddy.
Who would have guessed that the Foundation is The Rock?
There.
Rotation at 15 degrees.
Don't worry, guys. I'll move the bus by myself.
But you know what? It
Spider's
fits.
here, and I will give you a water break soon. Heads up. I know another way.
What was that? It looked like the Iron Giant.
Careful, edges are hot.
Rotation at 30 degrees.
That's the last one. We did it.
Where's my gun?
Okay, I may have dropped it in the 0 point.
Why does she make me keep saving you?
Well, what about that?
Get ready to swim.
Whoa. That is beautiful. And then it flipped over. Look at that. Oh, huge wave. The Zero War.
The
What a
IO
way to
has
end that
failed.
chapter,
The
though.
Imagined Order have been caught by total surprise, but so were the Seven. Their plan to take back control of the island has been stopped short by the caretaker breaching the wall, and because of this, their hiding spot for the past 4 years has been revealed. This whole time, they were living on the other side of the island,
The
a place
island.
named Sanctuary, where they could keep their friends close, but enemies closer. Now, this peaceful retreat has been exposed to the Imagined Order, who
Was
are
this Star
furious
Wars?
and already planning their counterattack. The Seven and IO have been at each other's throats, but never took full-scale action against each other until now, where the tension has reached boiling point, and thus the Zero War begins.
Look Look at the
The Seven
buses.
recruit as many loopers as possible. The IO already has them outgunned. Other members of the team join the fight, such as the Origin, who is drafting up battle plans to push back against the army. He has one of the most interesting backstories in the Seven. Once known as the Cube King, he ultimately realized that their dark energy could only be used for evil, so he escaped, leaving his identity behind for a new life. He was captured by the Imagine Order shortly afterwards, who tortured him for answers, but one day, the Seven broke in and rescued him. He walked out of that prison with a new name, the Origin, and has been their field tactician ever since. But he's not the only member with an intriguing life. The Order and the Imagine are the sisters that Foundation asked Jones to find. We don't know how they were reunited, but both of them are available to help in the war against their father, Geno. Imagine has been spending her entire life trying to take revenge on her father. As children, he genetically modified them to be perfect warriors with immortality and super strength. Reality was their playground, but one day, things changed in an instant. One of the members of his inner circle offered him a bed. Could the sisters become the first ever to escape the loop, and how long would it take? Geno was confident, but his obsession with perfection was also their downfall. The sisters did end up escaping the loop, but not fast enough, and when they returned home, the loop had created snapshots. Only these versions were more brutal, and Geno had a realization. He replaced his own daughters with more powerful snapshots, forcing the sisters to turn their backs on him and join the Seven under new names. However, despite being twins, they have very different motives. The Order wants to help destroy the loop and give people their freedom, while the Imagine simply wants revenge. Despite all of this manpower, there's only one person left who could help win the fight, and she crashed onto the Ice Moon years ago. Yes.
Oh, she's back?
Is adamant that reaching Paradigm will turn the tide in their favor. As far as the others are concerned, Paradigm is dead and a traitor, yet the scientist always held out hope. He's in love with her and is desperate to see her again. After breaking through to her, turns out she's alive but trapped inside the mech. To convince the others, scientist tells him that he was talking with the AI in her suit instead. At that same time, Sloane is busy on her counterattack. With the loopers rally behind the Seven, she realizes they're losing the battle and decides on a more destructive plan. Instead of wasting resources by fighting on land, she calls up her Doomsday department and begins working on a device known as the Collider. Yeah, the same one that was going to be used during the final showdown before Paradigm talked them out of it. If it destroys the Seven for good, Sloane will stop at nothing to achieve that goal. The Order hears about these plans and tells the others. The rescue mission is a go, not for Paradigm, but for her mech, which will be essential to destroying the Collider and winning the Zero War.
I'm so hooked right now.
Powerful energy in order to power the mech, called the Zero Shard. In a secret mission, the Seven sneak into the bridge with the help of Agent Jones, who explores the wreckage. He finds his old office, which is now upside down, and picks up a framed photo. It's of his wife and kids, which he left behind hundreds of years ago.
What?
See, when you join the Imagined Order, you swear an oath, and in return are granted immortality. Your family could also take this offer, but they need to live on the island, and Jones's family refused to do that, despite living on a dangerous homeworld. As a result, they were immortal and only had protection. They lived to ripe old ages, as Jones was forced to watch his wife die. As his kids got older too, he told the Imagined Order that he wanted to go back and grow old, dying with his grandchildren that he barely knew. He was just too useful to Sloane by then, and she reminded him that if he quit, his family would lose the protection on their homeworld. So he stayed, for descendants he has never met. Now that is eating him up inside, and as he dwells on it, the mission must continue. They continue their search for the Zero Shard, eventually finding out that it's located on the Ice Moon. Perfect, they can crush two birds with one stone. Well, that's until they approach a frozen castle, something that has remained undisturbed for a very long time. As the crew walk inside, they find a room full of artifacts, ancient weapons frozen in pillars, and at the end of the corridor, the Ice King, who reveals his true intentions after all this time. Greetings,
okay, what were those?
To reach my throne room alive is an achievement indeed. Uncounted ages ago, brave allies and I began collecting items of power, things and beings too dangerous to exist. My worst fears were realized when my staunchest comrade argued for using these items to alter realities to our liking. I was forced to freeze him, my other knights, and all we had acquired. So yes, this explains why the Ice King and Fire King were at war with each other, despite the fact that they used to share a round table. He wasn't a prisoner because of a small disagreement. The Ice King was protecting reality this entire time.
Yeah.
The reason the Ice Moon is so uninhabitable is because it was designed that way, so he could be isolated for all time. Now that they're standing in his impenetrable fortress, their presence here proves they are too dangerous to remain free. But before they can be wiped out by the Ice King, a familiar face shows up, Paradigm. She grabs them and destroys the castle. We're headed back to the island one way or another. The Zero War is about to end.
Yeah! Ooh, look at the mech now! We got a blue bear.
Don't have much time to hit the collider. Clear a path. I'll get us there. Legend, I thought you were on the case.
Yeah, nothing we can't handle. Just as soon as we figure it out.
All enemy forces have been eliminated. This is our chance. Divert power to Blade Strike.
Got a laser sword? Oh, you had to mash the buttons like this?
Hold on!
Whoa, what?
Eject!
In the wreckage, the final battles commence. Dr. Sloan is the Seven's last obstacle before reaching the collider.
Sloan, you don't have to do this.
Always so dramatic.
Why is she in a tank right there, though? That's a bad place to be in a tank!
So with Sloan out of the picture, the Order and the Imagine look up, whom to spot their father, Geno. He's here to personally face off against them and gets the Order in a chokehold. This is ridiculous. You're still my blood, just ask and I'll let you live. Send you somewhere safe. Little does he know, the Imagine isn't very interested. I have a better idea. We'll set you somewhere, father, everywhere. In one last sacrifice, the Imagine decides that killing Geno is worth the cost. She gets her final wish, tackling him straight into the 0 point, and as it cycles through countless realities, they are both ripped apart. Atoms scattered across the Omniverse.
Who is that?
The 0 point is focused on Geno. This is our best chance to find him.
Let's go.
All right, it's up to you now. We don't have much time. Don't worry, I got you.
That mech came in handy, let me tell you.
Jones and the Foundation chase Geno, not expecting to see him fading away. Imagine has died in his arms and he's slowly passing too. Geno has one final message for the Foundation.
Hey, The Rock said Black Adam might have flopped, but I'm gonna show up in Fortnite.
You always believed my methods were abhorrent, that you knew a better way. Congratulations, and now you get to prove it. I genuinely hope you're right, because if you fail, it means the end of everything. I have to go now. I have to admit, it's good to lay my burden down after all this time. It'll be nice to rest. He fades into nothing. Geno is dead, and the Imagined Order have been defeated.
Wow.
The Zero War is over, and they won. Celebrations across the island spread
Look
like
at that.
wildfire. Now the 0 point is finally liberated. It can blossom, nature takes over, but not everything is as it seems. The orb starts sending out distress signals, and strange relics begin to appear around the island. The scientist is confused and can't understand why it's doing this. But it's all the work of a villain hiding in the shadows, a herald who is secretly using the 0 point to search across the Omniverse. And in her search, she finds the Nothing. This is a truly evil presence that gives her the dark power of Chrome, and it's about to be unleashed upon the island and the name of her old friends, the Last Reality. With Geno out of the way and the Seven caught off guard, it consumes everyone. The Scientist, Origin, and a whole lot more are devoured, turned into Chrome, while Paradigm is the sole survivor. The only thing she can do is return to her homeworld, creating a plan that'll bring her friends back and save reality. Except Chrome is just too powerful.
Yeah, I was about to say that. Her design is okay. It's all right. That was a good idea. But she might like respawn. Yep. Even bigger. Oh my God. She is a titan. Too powerful. How can you even stop her? That's so overpowered.
The Herald destroys the island to
Wow.
0 point, ready for the Last Reality to swoop in and take it. Lucky for us, in a surprising turn of events, the 0 point protects itself, destroying the mothership and fleeing. It's here that Paradigm
nice.
comes into play. Using Zero Fusion, she's able to work with the orb and rebuild the island. Rather from countless realities to form a new world, everything is pieced back together. With the 7 turned to Chrome and the Imagined Order gone, it is time for a fresh start.
And that's where we leave off?
On this new island, the scientist robot assistant, Amy, leaves us with a final message from Paradigm. She asks us to deliver a mysterious kinetic ore to the one who lives in this medieval castle. We do so, learning that its ruler is the Ageless, a young king who looks a little too familiar.
Geno!
Zero fusion, and it becomes apparent who this actually is, judging from the banners, his appearance, and obsession.
We've come
with
full
perfection, we're
circle.
looking at Geno. Well, a snapshot of him. This is the ruler of the Oathbound who was left in Geno's place when he abandoned his homeworld. His right-hand man is Stellan the Rift Warden, who wishes to create a bridge to new realities. It wasn't possible with their medieval technology until they were brought to the island and discovered kinetic ore. With our refined version, they have unlocked the power to create pure portals. Yes, the origins of the Imagined Order are replaying themselves in real time, and the ore was a big help. But Stellan can't make this portal without another influence. A voice that guides him every step of the way. He kept this to himself, terrified of what he would do if he disobeyed their orders.
There is a being, a shapeless man. He watches us with dark purpose. If we do not finish the rift gate, the
A shapeless man?
will be terrible.
The final step in building this bridge to realities is deep in the forest, a bronze vault made to protect the 0 point. Of course, you need this power in order to make pure portals, and the voice in Stellan's head shows in the way. Except, it's quickly becoming obvious that this rift gate wasn't made to connect realities. It's a portal leading to the Shapeless Man. More importantly, this voice
Who
in
is
Stellan's
this
head
Shapeless
has dark
Man?
intentions, and his identity could already be known. Only one man has the overwhelming power to rebuild himself atom by atom, the real Geno. Turns out that after the Foundation and Jones left him to die, this wasn't
He's
the end
back.
of the story. And while he remains shapeless, he's directing his original kingdom to bring him back to the island.
Oh
At least
my
that's the
God.
intention. So Amy begins an investigation of her own as we send test subjects through the gate. They return disfigured or corrupted by darkness. It seems that everything Amy sends through the portal immediately goes searching for him as he is her creator. But when they return, they give us an update on the fate of the Seven.
He's different now. They're all different now. As we speak, they change. It sculpts his existence anew. A fate darker than the worst imaginable. You'll find him. But will you get there in time to save him?
The Foundation once said that
I guess
their
we'll
armor keeps
see.
them alive in different realities, even the nothing beyond them. But after being devoured by Chrome, they're different now, slowly losing themselves to the darkness. Amy, as a robot, is programmed to protect the scientist and does everything in her power to save him. She prepares a rescue mission with a new body and goes through the rift gate. This will be the last time we see Amy. Instead, the portal begins to destabilize, bringing more realities to the island before breaking down and closing. The resulting earthquakes cause the ground to collapse on itself, revealing this abandoned world. The Shapeless Man's plan failed, but there's another villain around the corner and he will change the storyline as we know it forever. Before that happens, we look deep into the jungle where our mind is blown. In the wreckage of a crushed tank, Dr. Sloan emerges.
What?
She survived the Zero War and is confused by how she got here. However, it's not
Yeah.
long before she gets her bearings and begins to investigate this
Oh,
strange
did she?
ancient world. In the ruins, she finds markings that predict the future, along with an apparatus used by those who lived here thousands of years ago. She had no idea what happened to this society. They were an advanced civilization who used the stars to project the future.
Kinda like
and
the
yet they
Mayans.
vanished without a trace. The markings seem to show an incoming eclipse that'll bring the end of the world. But with further research, Sloan realizes that
Exactly
this
like the
phenomenon
Mayans.
isn't natural. How could the ancients predict this with the stars if it wasn't a natural event? There's only one explanation: it has already happened before. They're warning us that soon it'll happen again. So Sloan realizes the signal is all too familiar and calls an old friend for backup. And just like that, it's time for the eclipse to arrive. As the daylight is covered and the island is shrouded in darkness, Cato Thorne makes himself known. He's a vampire
Cato Thorne.
collecting various artifacts from across reality. On the surface, he runs a successful hotel resort business, but in the shadows, Cato has a time machine. He uses this
What?
to travel through history, collecting relics and treasures for his own personal collection.
That's
such as
so
a royal
random.
skull, Midas' severed hand, and an ancient calendar which seemed to have ties to the Seven. Now, he's arrived in 2023 at the perfect opportunity for Sloan to pull off a daring heist. She's abandoned the Imagined Order, or what's left of it, realizing the error of her ways, or so we think, as she keeps to herself and focuses on this mysterious plan. Phase 1 of this operation involves stealing the time machine from under Cato Thorne's nose. She hires a group of professional thieves to pull off the heist of a century as they sneak into his mansion and get away without a problem. Before Cato can retaliate and feast on his prey, he has even bigger worries. As a time-traveling vampire, he has made a lot of enemies, especially hunters like Shimmer Dusk, who have spent years chasing him. Now, without the time machine as an escape route, Cato Geno is left defenseless, and she slays her arch nemesis once and for all.
Easy.
With Geno dead and the device in Sloane's hands, it's time for Phase 2. They experiment with the machine at a temporary headquarters, bringing artifacts from 2018 to their front yard. It functions as intended, and Sloane is confident that this will work. She just needs a helping hand from an old acquaintance, Agent Jones. He's laid low after the Zero War, but with Sloane's influence, she persuades him to go on her secret mission.
No way.
To the past. His goal is to extract an unknown thing or person without changing the timeline. So they set the date, July 12, 2018, and Jones begins his journey. All that's there to guide him are audio logs left by Sloane, as she sends messages from the future back in time with a deadly reminder.
Everything you do will ripple forward to this very moment.
We're messing with time now. I always get confused with this.
Change the future, by the way. Drop that fantasy right now. This is an extraction, and you're leading the way.
Well, despite this, Jones has started to alter the timeline. Young's King and his prisoner never arrive in the island.
No.
Mech never gets constructed.
No.
In order to complete his extraction, Jones ties the time machine to the scientist's rocket. The future, for the first time, is unknown.
This is the first time in countless lifetimes that I don't know what happens next.
That's good.
Heading off into the unknown. I guess this is goodbye for this me and that you. But we'll meet again. Reality's not done with us yet. Keep the campfires burning, Jones. Wherever and whenever you go.
Thank you guys so much for making it to the end.
That was amazing. I can't believe this story is this complex. And I mean, they are using things like
this. Recently, the creator of Fortnite Storyline,
The Big Bang Theory and such.
So I dedicate this video to Donald Mustard for bringing so much joy and happiness to our community.
Yes.
Hope you all
This is amazing. I never would have thought that the lore would tie so well together. Like, no other video game would be able to do this, and it kind of makes sense, right? Like, especially when you start mixing in different realities and universes and dimensions and then time machines, it starts to get nuts, right? Like, I usually zone out when video games or movies or TV shows start to mess with time and dimensions and such, because there's like so many different rules, and they have to show you what the rules are and how it works and talk about it, and it's all sciencey. And it's just like, I don't really want to learn this right now. And, you know, they do have their universal rules for things like that. But for the most part, every piece of media changes something, and it's always like slightly unique than the last, right? And it's just like, it gets so convoluted. But this actually made more sense than most, not gonna lie. And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed this video a lot. Now, Top 5 Gaming did a really good job of taking this whole entire storyline and just kind of compiling everything, right? Obviously, he probably left out a lot of chunks, but, you know, this is the short but sweet version of the entire Fortnite storyline in one video. Now, there's a super detailed video that you can watch out there that's like 3 hours long, but I feel like this was a too long, didn't read version of it. I might watch that huge video in the future, maybe, just because I do want to get every little detail. I feel like that would be really nice, and maybe I'll watch this video one more time before I do that, just so I can kind of like have something, you know, to grasp. But I mean, that 3 hour long video might be a lot, but maybe we could tackle it, guys. Anyways, hit that like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, and shouts out to Top 5 Gaming yet again for creating this video. Check out their links. It will be in the description down below. With that being said, I'll see you guys in the next one. Have an amazing day. Deuces.
Hope will never die.
Órale.